Hi, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot with this week's Learn Lenormand with me, and today we're going to be looking at the Coffin card. So this card talks about sickness, loss and painful transformations, much like the Death card in Tarot. When there are positive cards around it, the influence of this card is diminished. It is also a card of delays and thinking outside the square in whatever situation you find yourself in. If you are looking for a lost item and this card turns up, it can indicate that it's in a box somewhere. So if you're looking for your watch and you can't find it, have a look at some boxes because it's more than likely in there. So it's kind of a funny little quirk about this actual card. It can actually really literally mean in a box somewhere. When this card comes up beside the scythe, it can indeed predict a death, and I have personally had this happen to me more than once in my readings. I don't want to scare anyone off this deck, Titania's Fortune cards, but it really is a no bullshit hard-hitting deck, and I don't recommend this deck if you like cupcakes and rainbow type readings. Now, in saying that, don't automatically think it means this all the time. It can be the death of a situation too, but you'll have to decipher for yourself what it means by the cards around it, okay? So, yeah, I mean, for a long time when I got this combination, it really actually did predict a death, but sometimes it can mean a death of a situation, and it's really going to have to be up to you on how you interpret this duo when it comes up in your readings, because this deck is very much is how your energy it really influences on it. You've got to be in control of this deck. If one thing I've learned about working this deck for nearly 20 years is that you are the one that has to be in control of it, not the other way around. So when I first started using this deck, I was going through a lot of shit in my life, like a lot of crap. And I think the reason why death came up quite a lot in there, not only for people, but it was because of the situations that I found myself in, and I just expected it to happen, and it did. Do you know what I mean? So now when I get that combination up, it hasn't happened for quite a while, actually. It doesn't actually mean that. It means something else. And I think that's because now I'm in control of this deck and I can decipher what's going on. Of course, sometimes it can mean a death. I'm not saying that it doesn't. For me personally, I'm saying, but now I've found that it's not as prevalent as it once was when I first started using this deck. So with the health reading and the Coffin comes up, it's health depressed people who may cut themselves. So, you know, this card, for instance, if the Coffin and the scythe came up, it could actually mean someone who's doing self-harm, literally hiding themselves away in a room and doing self-harm. So, you know, that's another combination that the box and the Coffin and the scythe could mean, because they're literally hiding themselves in a box, which is like a square room, and this self-harm. So that can come up for people who aren't depressed. It also can be autoimmune disease, someone who may suffer from claustrophobia, even agoraphobia as well, where they don't want to leave the comfort of their home because they quite feel safe and secure within the within the four walls of the actual room. I'm trying to do this in a hurry because I've just realised, because my husband is away all week and he's going to be working at home from Friday, and that's when I normally do my videos, and I've had a big day today, and I've had to realise I have to quickly do these videos, so I hope I'm not stumbling too much. So appearance-wise, people can appear thin and gaunt, vampire-looking, pale. They can also look goth or emo. And timing with this is a long time, internal, if indeed the person it represents is a vampire. So, yeah, it's a very, very long time. So I'm not going to go through all the differences in the actual cards that I have been doing, because it's just something that you can't predict with this particular card. In saying that, though, when the scythe comes up, it's going to happen quickly, but usually on its own, time is, you just don't know. So now, I thought what might be fun with a tarot card. I'm actually going to, first of all, we'll see how the energy of the Coffin is affecting us. Say, I'll just do the old, oh my God, and they just went everywhere. Actually, I'll leave that one. I've got another deck. I'll just use Chiro's ones because I'll just do that one. So let's have a look. I've already shuffled this one. Let's see how the energy of the Coffin may be affecting us, just so you can get a bit of an idea when this particular card comes up. I'll do the card before and the card after it. Okay, now this is really interesting because the card before it came the lilies, which is again is another card of a long time. So it's usually represents someone who is older, usually female, so like a grandmother, aunt, that type of sort of a person. And the card that came after it was the actual clover. So if you're looking at the lily, the coffin, and the clover, if somebody like a favourite auntie of yours or someone passed away, they might actually have left something for you in their will. So that could actually, so even though it hasn't got the scythe in it, but if you know that that someone, an elderly relative, or maybe even someone that you don't know, has been ill for quite a while, because the lily does stand for a long term. So if it's a long-term illness, which seems to imply, because the coffin's there, you may get some luck because they may decide to leave you something in their will. Or also it can even, having the clover there can even represent a return to better health. But because the clover can be short term, it might be a short term feeling better, because we've all heard sometimes, you've read in the news, but they were rallying around, they were getting well, and then suddenly they die, and that could be what the clover is implying as well. So there you go. So that's just another sort of a quick sort of reading. But what I'm going to do, hopefully I'll just make sure this card is big enough. I'm going to have to try. I'm going to try, that's even bigger. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually use the Marielle. I'm going to use the Marielle, and I'm going to shove that in there, the coffin card. Give it a shuffle, and I'm just going to see, I'm going to do again the before and the after, and see what we can get some indication of what the Marielle says, because it's quite a different, interesting deck, and I want to try and keep these videos interesting as long as I can. And now this is this is interesting, because when I turn it around to do the shuffling, well, the coffin was the first card, and then the one after it was the Six of Cups. So because there is nothing in front of the coffin, so there's nothing, before the coffin, we've only got the after. I suppose I should show you the Six of Cups. I don't know if I did I? That's what the Six of Cups looked like in the Marielle. And then we had the coffin, is it going to be the right way around? No, that way. So there was nothing in this area here. So what's that telling you about the coffin? What's it telling you is that you can't really think of anything but nostalgia for the past, because the Six of Cups is often about, we do know it's about nostalgia for the past and how things were, and if you're a little bit happier. But because nothing was actually before it, it kind of implies that this person literally has really sort of, how am I going to say, has really cut themselves off from the past, even though this is implying that they've got nostalgia for it. But every time they think about it, so like say now they're thinking about something that happens in the past, they completely cut it out of their mind. That could actually even indicate somebody who is suffering from amnesia and they don't know where they've come from. I read this amazing story. Where did I read it? I think they found her when she was 18, lost and crying, a little bit bruised and battered, and she didn't know where she was from. And that's right, I was reading a past life regression book, and it wasn't until she was 65 that she found out what happened. That still doesn't know what the trauma actually was, but her sister found her. So she's been reunited all these years later with her family. So when you get these two together, it could indicate that someone is suffering from amnesia when it comes to their past. They've been trying to figure out what it is. They've got a deep longing, but for some reason the mind has blocked it. So that's kind of very interesting that nothing came up in the before, but in the after, this one come up. And I kind of like this one, because the hands are like lobsters as well. So it indicates that you can't grasp what's been happening on before. And this could actually imply Alzheimer's as well, where, they are literally just living in the past, in the present, because they've forgotten what's gone on before. That's a really interesting combination to come up, isn't it, when you look at it like that? It's such a fascinating deck, the Marielle. And I really Oh, really? Yeah. I've never had that actually come up before. There's nothing been in it before, but I think that just sort of suits this deck to a T. So there you go. That is the Coffin card. Just remember when that comes up to look carefully around at the cards that are with it, and to, when you're doing your interpretations when it comes to the Coffin, literally think outside the box. Don't automatically think, oh my God, it's death. Don't just think like that all the time. It could be other reasons as well. But yes, it does have that meaning attached to this card. So there you go. Anyway, until next time, this is Tracy.